about the North, and one part's going to be about the South. So, to start out with the North, and I did blue because the North wore blue uniforms, so keep that in mind. So, one of the most important people to talk about would be Abraham Lincoln. He was our 16th president. He opposed the spread of slavery. He issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which we talked about yesterday, which was to free the slaves. And he was determined to preserve the Union by force if necessary. Of course, he tried to do it without force. He wanted to just eliminate slavery altogether, but the South just would not have it. Another important player would be Ulysses S. Grant. He graduated from West Point, which is a prestigious military academy, and he served in the Mexican-American War. He was a general of the Union Army during the Civil War. He defeated Robert E. Lee's Confederate Army during the Overland Campaign, Petersburg, and Appomattox, which led to Lee's surrender. Of course, he's very important because he was the head of the military, and a lot of the tactics and strategies were his ideas. Another major player would be William Tecumseh Sherman. He was a Union general who devastated Georgia during his March to the Sea. The March to the Sea was one of his strategies in which he captured the city of Atlanta. He used a total war tactics, which total war tactics is when you completely cut off the other side's supply for anything. Their food, their weapons, their industry to even make weapons. During this time, they were able to shut down the railroad system that the South had to move their materials. He also captured the port of Savannah, and he hampered Confederate ability to make war, like what I said with the total war tactics. Another major player, although not involved in the military action, is Frederick Douglass. He escaped slavery to become a leader of the abolitionist movement. He used his orations to promote equality for everyone. He strongly believed in equality for the black race, for women, anyone. A famous quote from him would be, "I would unite with anybody to do right and with nobody to do wrong." He's an example for equality because a lot of people in the South believe that blacks were just not able to be intelligent or to participate in normal society. And here is this African American who is just as smart as anyone else. He could read, he could write, and a lot of whites liked him and respected him because of his intelligence. Alright, so it's time for the South. The South, when they seceded from the Union, they created their own government, and their one and only president was Jefferson Davis. He was the Secretary of War under President Pierce, and later became a senator for Mississippi before the Civil War. He was elected without any opposition or candidate running against him. However, he was not able to be an effective leader because he lacked getting foreign recognition, lack of political party, and lack of popular appeal. A lot of people really didn't like him, and he didn't have any competition because no one else wanted the position that he was going for. I mean, he's written on the wrong side of history. He's given a negative view, and that was what a lot of other people feared of doing if they became the Confederate president. For military participants, we have Robert E. Lee. He was the general of the Confederate Army. He surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse on April 9th, 1865. A fun fact about Robert E. Lee is that he was offered the position to be General of the North, but he turned it down to support his state. And this is important to know about the Civil War because it was tearing the country in half. People would have family on both sides, but they would have to choose which side to support. So even though he might not have agreed with the South's major points, he still went with the South because that was where he was from. That's his home state. He also worked with Ulysses S. Grant during the Mexican-American War, and then he had to go head-to-head with him in the Civil War. And then there's Thomas Stonewall Jackson. He was a commander of the Confederate Army. He was known for his tactical strategies during the First Battle of Bull Run, the Second Bull Run, Antietam, Fredericksburg, and the Battle of Chancellorsville, which we discussed all of those yesterday in our little timeline of the battles. He earned his nickname at the First Battle of Bull Run when he brought reinforcements to the Confederate Army who was losing the battle, but he turned the situation around and they ended up winning that one. Okay,